Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
You're listening to The Man That Can Project with Lachlan Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to The Man That Can Project.
Gents, welcome back. This is episode 248. I did jump the gun in the podcast. I thought we were up to 250 when I was talking with today's guest, but that's obviously 2 episodes away. But as a result of getting to that, I decided to upgrade the podcasting equipment that I'm using, which is very excited. I thought, I've proven to myself that I'm committed, so I want to make sure I can deliver better audio quality and, make things easier on the back end here as well, which is very exciting. One thing I wanted to share with you guys, and you've probably seen it popping up all over Instagram, Facebook, talking about it on the podcast, is the Inner Circle program. It is incredible to see what the men are achieving in that. I've been sharing results from what the progress that men are seeing in their life, how they're inspiring their children, work colleagues, brothers-in-laws. Now, the ripple effect of putting the work in for themselves and actually committing to playing a bigger game, actually committing to overcoming the limiting beliefs that I've had to take action on what it is they said they wanted to create for themselves. And it's extremely inspiring to be a part of a group where I get to watch these men grow and develop. And, we got men from all walks of life doing this, and it's come together in this incredible brotherhood where every week we get to catch up and, we're learning about how to play a bigger game, using the 4 pillars to master those 8 areas. And it's very, very exciting. So guys, we do have a 7-day free trial. If you want to jump in and, check out what it's all about and see if it's for you, 100% risk-free, then head over, do the 7-day free trial. And I look forward to getting to know you guys in the Inner Circle community. And if you find out, worst case scenario, if it's not for you, no money taken, and all you've gained is the knowledge and experience to know that, you might be pointed in the right direction of what you're actually looking for. So check out the Inner Circle on the website or on my Instagram at Lachlan Stuart or at the Man That Can Project for more information on that one, guys. Look forward to connecting soon and enjoy this episode. All right, gents, welcome back to another episode of the Man That Can Project podcast. I'm your host, Lachlan Stuart.
And I am the man that can.
George Sheppard.
The man that did.
So today, guys, is take 2 of this.
Wasn't sure if you were going to bring that up, but
I had to bring it up because I posted in the group to the lads that we failed, or I failed you. We did a whole episode previously, probably 6 weeks ago.
You've never failed me, Locke.
I failed myself because it was a great chat and we didn't get to give it to you guys to get
That's all right. It was just a private chat between you and I.
So much has happened since, which I'm very, very excited to talk about.
I feel like we've left it long enough now.
Yeah, we get to, as you said in the text message, times past where fresh content and we won't remember what was said. But today's guest, it is George Sheppard, but I will give you a quick intro for those who are listening all around the world. We're getting fucking thousands of listeners. It's awesome from all around the world. But George is the frontman of indie pop band Sheppard. I don't know why I started. Why did I start there? Anyway.
Well, I guess that's probably...
soon to be brother-in-law.
That's right.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's the first time I've said that.
I've never had a brother.
Let alone one in law, so probably never going to get one.
By law, we actually have to be brothers.
Be friends.
Yeah. Well, not friends, but brothers at least.
Yeah. That's cool. That's exciting. But obviously, you've had huge success in your career. You've played in front of hundreds of thousands of people all around the world, been on Ellen, Jimmy Fallon, to say the least. But you've, also, which is one of the reasons why I'm excited to have you on here, you've remained true to who you are as an individual and extremely humble throughout the process, and
also done some really stupid shit too.
Also some very, very stupid shit, which we're going to talk about today, which, will be fun, including last week's incident.
Yeah, okay.
Previously off the back of the AFL Grand Final. But George, before, we sort of dive into it, I'll pass it over to you to sort of get people up to speed with who George Sheppard is, what it's like to be you, and I'll sort of chime in along the way.
What it's like to be me?
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm not going to lie. I've been a very lucky individual my entire life. I've always felt that I've been quite fortunate, and I'm forever grateful for the family I've had, for the opportunities I've been presented, and I've always tried to make the most of every moment. For better or for worse, I've always sort of taken the moment by the horns and just kind of lived in it.
Shaking it. Yeah, you're very good at being extremely present.
Yeah, well, I just, I don't know how to...
Not.
Well, because I can't remember anything. And then I also don't know how to plan for the future. So that leaves me very few choices as to where I can exist.
We're just smack bang in the middle, which
right
is
here in
extremely present. But take us back, you grew up in PNG?
Yes, grew up in PNG.
Papua New Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like?
It was a bit of a different experience, I guess, from the regular Australian childhood or, Western world. PNG is an interesting one, man, because you've got, on one hand, it's this amazingly beautiful place. The people are such sweethearts. Like, everyone's friendly. Everyone's like, I've never felt more welcome anywhere in my life. But it's also got this really ugly side of, political corruption, and there's rascals everywhere. Like, you can't go out at night. If you're a child, you're not going riding on your own anywhere, like on a bicycle. You can't cross the road by yourself, essentially. So there's like this really freeing aspect of it where, you go out on the boats and you're riding jet skis without a license, and you're cruising around in the back of a ute because that's fine. But then you're living in compounds, gated communities with electric fences, guard dogs, security guards are just like a normal thing. If you don't have a security guard at your house, you're
in trouble,
taking a real risk.
It's interesting. Like, I think we take that for granted here in Australia, and I've been over twice or three times now. It's eye-opener. Massive, massive, massive eye-opener just to how lucky we are here. Obviously, there's pros and cons to both sides. We don't have the freedoms that we can't ride around the back of a ute. We can't drive jet skis without licenses, and various other things, but that's cool. But moving forward, when did you end up in Australia? What was that like?
Well, I mean, obviously we came back to Australia for Christmases and holidays and all that stuff, because all of our family's in Perth. Our extended family, aunties, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, they're all in Perth. So we'd fly to Perth every holiday that we got. And I remember Australia being this like magical, mythical kingdom where it's like Slurpees and cinemas and like time zones, all this stuff that we didn't have.
The Gold Coast you've just pointed out, is that it?
Yeah, pretty much. The Gold Coast was like paradise in my head. Surfer's paradise, if you will.
Oh, beautiful.
George's paradise. So and they had like theme parks, Dream World, Movie World, all of this stuff. Like, that was in my head. Australia was this magical place that we didn't live at. Like, we had to kind of save it for when it came for these holidays, and we'd be so excited, like getting off the plane. We'd be dancing down the jetway when we arrived in Australia because we were so excited to be there. But I moved to Australia permanently when I was, I think I was 12. 13, 12, I had to go to boarding school because in PNG there's really world-class primary schools.
Yeah.
But the high schools, I mean, I guess it wouldn't. Most people leave the country to go to high school because that's when the adult prospects start to make their way into decision-making.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go from here?
Yeah.
So high school, I was in Brisbane.
I went to boarding school.
What was that like as a young lad, 12 years old, obviously leaving your family behind?
It's fucking horrible.
I thought you were about to say it's fucking interesting. Yeah, horrible, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a great time the first couple of years of boarding school. It was fun. I made some really cool friends. Matt Scully, he's one of the first friends I made in Australia. He and I had a great time those first couple of years, just kind of getting to know each other. But for the most part, it was like I was very different to the other boys. I wasn't like a rugby guy because it was a very footy-oriented school. Yeah. Being a private school, a lot of footballers, professional footballers, come out of schools like BBC and Nudgee and Churchy. But I was more of like a music drama kid, and I'm not as tall. I still can't grow a beard.
You're trying, man.
I'm doing my darndest, but no, I can't. I'm just not one of those like tough country blokes. Like that's what 95% of the dorm was made up of.
Yep.
So and me coming from Papua New Guinea as well, having never, like I said, never crossed the road by myself, to all of a sudden you're all alone in Australia in a big room with 30 other blokes who are a little bit older and bigger and hairier than you. It was like a bit of a trip out. Yeah.
Far out. How did you sort of like deal and cope with it through that period of time? What was that like for you? Obviously, from my experience, I was one of the footy guys, but I think
that was like, they talk about ego death. Mm-hmm. I think I had mine at like 13 years old.
Mate, that's like hitting puberty early. Ego death is like a 40-year-old thing.
Yeah. I think I learnt I had to live without a family in a sense, because there's a boarding mother and, they come and wake you up every morning and make sure you've eaten your dinner and all that stuff. But it's not a proper upbringing. Yeah. Like it's not, when you're 12, 13, you're not like an adult yet. You're still... need your parents' guidance and influence and support. And
because most of the guidance you'd be getting would be like 17-year-old blokes. Is that it?
Yeah, like the dorm seniors. Yeah.
And this is just an assumption, but I imagine the guys that are taking control of the boarding house are probably the loud jock type ones. Is that?
Yeah, pretty much. But ego death in the sense that my life up until that point had been pretty set in stone, and I had a complete life in Papua New Guinea with friends. I had a routine. I had an entire life that just got completely like a wax strip just removed from my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I was in a completely new environment with new people. Nobody from my old life was there, and I just had to kind of figure it out. And that was from an early age. And I struggled for a little bit. For at least 6 months, I would have been I guess I was depressed. I was pretty upset that my family wasn't around me and my regular life had just evaporated in front of me. But obviously over time you can adapt and just get used to what your new circumstances are. And I guess there's a lot of people that'd be going through this exact sort of thing right now in adult life. They might have lost a job, or might have had some circumstances change that meant you had to move cities, or move. I mean, your friend Etienne, right?
Yeah.
He completely removed his whole life, and it cost him all this money to get over here. And 2 months, not even 2 months, COVID happens, and then you got to move back.
Yeah, horrible. Yeah, very, very true. But obviously, was it something that you wanted to do, like to come over here? Was it?
Oh, I would have stayed in. I just wanted to be with my family. I wanted to stay where I was, and it was comfortable. Like life was good. Yeah. It was all. I mean, I had to go. Like even my parents knew that I had to go.
Yeah.
And my mum was just as devastated as I was.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it had to happen, and I needed to leave the nest, so to speak.
Develop as an individual, which is awesome. But obviously, you've come through the other side. You're where you are now, which is brilliant. But talk us through then, like life 18 or 17. Like you're just leaving the second nest of high school.
Yep.
Secondary education. What was next for you?
So I actually because by the time I was in grade 12, Emma, our younger sister, was old enough to board as well. But instead of sending all 3 kids to Brisbane, Mum was just like, well, I'm going to move to Brisbane now. See you, Greg.
Bye.
So Greg's still working in Papua New Guinea, and Mum lives here with the 3 kids. And we call it a day boy. That was my life for a year. And then I got into acting school in Sydney, and I moved to Sydney for 6 years.
And what was that like? Was that the dream? Was that the
That was a fun time, man. I had because in my head I was going to be this movie star, doing theatre and TV, movies. I wanted to be an actor. Like getting into characters is one of my favorite, like all-time favorite things to do.
Who's the biggest inspiration there for you?
Well, it's either between. I mean, comedy is Jim Carrey. There's not much that guy can't do. And growing up watching his movies, I always. I always wanted to be an actor in movies like that.
Yep.
I'm also a big fan of Shia LaBeouf. I think that guy is one of like the world's greatest actors.
Yeah.
But he's become a bit of a meme now, but he's like actually for real, like a serious actor.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. Like all of his characters, he's such an engaging presence on screen.
Yeah.
Love watching him.
And what?
I was doing all of that stuff in Sydney.
And so obviously you changed careers. You're a musician now. Mm-hmm. Were you always a musician, or how did that sort of unfold for you? Like,
I mean, we always did music. It wasn't like something that I'd planned to do as a profession. It was something that, like, we'd always been asked to sing at school assemblies, and I learned piano back in the day. Like back when I was in grade 5, I did classical piano training.
Yeah.
But I didn't enjoy it. I had a great teacher, Selena Jacobs. She was amazing. Lovely, lovely lady. But I just reading music and having a regiment to it.
Yeah.
Just didn't quite suit me. Like I didn't enjoy it.
You wanted to run the show.
Well, I mean, because it definitely helped me out later on when I sat down at a piano, and there was a piano at the theatre and acting school. The acting school I went to had a theatre in the hall, and every lunchtime I would sit down at that piano and just like, because I've always loved the piano. I love how it sounds. I love how it feels. And I just like, I can hear that 3 notes make that chord, and just keep on teaching myself different chords. So all of that early on training would have helped with the pianist that I was later going to become, I guess.
The later you were going to become. Can you even find you on YouTube just doing random stuff like that? Maybe we should upload some videos of you just doing, because it's really fascinating.
I'm hopeless with social media,
but especially when we have like dinners or certain things, and you'll just jump on any random instrument and bang something out. It's quite impressive, as opposed to the I guess most unmusical individual you've seen in your life. Watching that it's pretty incredible to see.
You're not on musical,
mate. I've
seen you tapping.
You just heard me
chopsticks at dinner.
Yeah, that's because I want food, not any rhythm. But going forward, obviously, what was it like 2012, 2013 that Sheppard really launched, or 14?
Yeah.
What's that whole experience like? Because I remember you speak about where I came into the picture, and then I was sort of.
Well, I guess the early story was that I was back from Sydney, from my school holidays from acting school, and Amy was doing TAFE.
Yep.
Because she actually was a musician. Like she wanted to be a singer. Like that was her goal. And so she did music at TAFE, and one of the assignments that she had was, I think she had to write and record a pop EP. An EP is like 5 songs.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a bit of trivia that most people might not know. So you got singles, EPs, and LPs. Have you heard of these?
Is LP long play?
Yeah, LP is long play.
EP is
extended play. Ah. So you got the singles that you would release on your vinyl, like the little vinyls. You'd release a single back in like the 60s or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes the single would have 3 or 4 songs attached to it.
Yeah.
And that's an extended play of the single. So that's why 4 or 5 track
belters
EPs, and then full album is a long play, like anywhere from 7 to 12 songs.
There you go, folks. You heard this here potentially first.
I mean, it's pretty common knowledge if you know anything about the music industry.
Yeah,
but
so pop EP.
yeah, Amy had to record a pop EP, which I just so happened to be in Brisbane for, and she asked if I would be interested in helping her write and maybe do some harmonies, that type of thing. I was like, look, can you afford me?
I'm an actor.
I'm an actor. I can act as the songwriter, sure.
Done.
So it was another role that I was stepping into, you know.
So has this all been is this the real George Sheppard? Cool. Amazing.
What's that? What do you mean?
This act as a musician, or are you in and out of character?
Oh, I've been playing a role this last 10 years, yeah.
So this is the real me.
My greatest role of all time.
The biggest vlog in YouTube history. There's 4,000 episodes.
This is
already.
David Blaine levels of commitment to this role.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I mean that's really the earliest of the collaborations between the siblings. That was like the starting moment of it all. And Dad walked past the bedroom when we were kind of singing this chorus that we'd written. He's like, "What's going on here? What is this?" It's like, "Oh, Amy's writing a thing. I'm helping her out. We're just singing together." So you got to record this. This is beautiful. And so he booked us some studio time, and we got to record this song in a real studio.
What was the song?
So exciting. It's called Cheese on Toast.
Oh man, it's cracker.
It's a cracker. Yeah.
Well, it's toasty.
Cheese on toast. Cheese and crackers.
It's belter.
That was like the first. Yeah, that's the first song that Amy and I did together.
Yeah.
And being in the studio together was so much fun, and we just had a really good time doing it. It was like we worked well together. We just kept going. And
It's
slowly,
interesting, like your story, how it's like you were so hell bent on one career, but you were still open minded enough to just give something else a go, which has obviously worked out really well for you, and it's brought you back closer to family.
There was definitely a clear distinction between how successful the acting was going and the music when it.
Mate,
started,
I've never seen you act a lot, so that might be jumping to conclusions. There, we might be.
Perhaps, yeah.
We might see you as the next
post a little
James
link or
Bond.
two. Yeah.
Imagine James Bond
I'm not a James Bond. Look at me.
with the right trainer.
James Bond doesn't have pink hair. Well, it is 2020.
Yeah,
I guess
exactly. You can do
James
what you
Bond
want.
could be anybody.
Yeah, for those who aren't watching but are listening, George does have pink hair. It's a little washed out, but it's still beautiful nonetheless.
Need to get it redone, yeah.
So you started as two-piece.
Started as a two-piece.
What was the evolution?
It was very folky.
Yeah.
Really acoustic guitar-driven, folky music. Almost country. And then...
You know, country's my favourite.
I do know this.
Thank
I do
you.
know this. We moved well away from
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Actually, we got a lot of country music fans. Because I guess we played that Keith Urban support show.
The country tunes are amazing.
I think our music translates well to country.
I think because
fans.
a lot of music that I listen that's on the radio now is a lot of push. Like it's a different type of music now to what I guess traditional instrument sort of setups. And I feel you guys still play a lot of that. So for the country folk who love a good guitar and love drums and all
just
of
some
that
heart,
sort of stuff.
some
Yeah. It's you sit there and
substance.
you go, I can get behind this. I can actually feel it in your body, and it feels fucking good. You want to drink a few 4X Gold tins and carry on.
Yeah. Little endorsement
Plug there. Thanks, 4X
plug.
Gold, just invoice coming your way.
Is this where we break for a little advertisement for us?
One day. For those who are listening to this in 2024, I may have made it. Back over to you, George. I'm stealing the show.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's
And yeah, so you took the studio time. Fast forward.
yeah. So
What
I guess
was sort of like-
the next thing was when Jason joined.
Yep.
So through my acting adventures in Sydney, I'd made one of the best friends that I've got today. His name's Luke Bavino.
Yep.
Absolute legend of a guy. Just one of those people that within 5 minutes of meeting him, I just knew that we'd
Be best mates.
be best mates. We'd have a lifelong friendship.
Yep.
It's been about 15 years since I met him, and we're still just as good friends, which is awesome.
Incredible. Yeah.
But his younger brother, Jason, was a musician. Whenever I'd go over to his house in Sydney, you know, he's similar family to ours, really close-knit unit, big family. I think there's like 7 of them, 5 kids.
Wow.
But Luke introduced me to his younger brother Jay, and Jay was always really quiet. Luke's very extrovert, Mr. Good Time, and Jay's a bit more of the introverted, quiet, introspective.
Yeah, it's a great dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Your podcast listeners would know Jay.
Well, for those who have listened to Jay's episode, it's episode. I'll get back to you with that.
I was going to say, if you could build.
It's in the show notes, but it'd be around I'd say around the 190 to 210 mark in between there.
Okay. I'll check that out. What number am I?
Well, you'll be about 2. You'll probably be 250.
250 people.
Yep.
Got in before me.
Man, I've just been nervous for this one.
Anyway, long story short, Jason Bavino, he was in a band that was sort of like starting to dissolve, like they were sort of breaking up. It was just perfect timing. He was looking for something to do. Amy and I were just starting this thing up.
Yeah.
And
was there a point, just so before that, was there a point where you decided you were actually going to do music? Like, how you obviously went from Amy's EP to then doing a bit of studio time to then being like, we're actually going to put a band together?
Yeah. I mean, I was sort of bumming around in Sydney. I was not doing a lot, like just waiting for auditions.
Yeah.
Which is like, you might get one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I wasn't busy.
You could
if Amy had something for me to do, I was like very
excited,
keen to do it.
I was there.
Hook, line, and sinker. I like there wasn't a decision making process. I was like, there's something going on here. Let's do it.
Yeah, interesting. And then obviously you're kicking that forward. Emma joins the band as your younger sister.
Emma was the fourth person to join. So Jay, Amy, and I had been writing music for about a year before Emma got involved.
Yeah.
We did it. We recorded an entire album called The Circus Dance of Circumstance.
I just thought it might have been the cheese and toast spaghetti.
All Stars.
Yeah, All Stars with coffee.
So we recorded this 12-track album with a producer who I probably shouldn't name because we didn't enjoy it and we didn't use it. We spent like a month of our lives recording this thing.
Really?
And it was just very bland. There was nothing exciting about it. Like no one was going to want to listen to that more than once type of thing. And we could feel that. So we just decided to scrap it all and start again with a guy named Stuart, who I know you know.
No, I'm kidding. Not a relative. Not a relative.
It's just like Lockie Stuart times 2. It's like
he's an ultra human.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Super dude. And Stuart saw what we were trying to do and he really believed in us from the get-go. He knew what could be of Sheppard.
Yeah.
I remember him saying in the first meeting, because we were like still talking about whether we could salvage that first album. Maybe it was going to get fixed in the mix type of thing. But,
yeah. So you made a whole album.
Yeah.
Forked out money for it. Obviously a lot of time and just it never came to be anything.
I think 2 of the songs made it onto the first EP.
What was that like for you? Because you obviously, parting with money. I'm sure it wasn't cheap to make an EP. And
Parting
do all
with
that.
money
What made you get back on the saddle and keep going?
I mean, it was a case of trusting the process of like the creative process is not there's no roadmap. Like there's no like this is what you need to do. And then
so you don't know when you're writing a hit.
No, it has to come from here. Like you've got to feel. That's the best way I can describe it. You've got to you've got to believe in it and have the vision of where it's going.
Yeah.
As soon as that's not there, then nobody's got any idea.
Was there moments?
Your manager's not going to fix it. Your agent's not going to fix it. There's nobody else that's going to.
Was there moments in time where you ever questioned like getting? Obviously, you said you were having a gig every fortnight, and obviously, I haven't spoken about what gigs were happening with the music. But were there moments in time where you're like, "Fuck, I need to do something else"? I wasn't even going to say get a real job because that's what people used to say to me as well. But like,
dude, every week,
yeah,
even now, last week, I was like, well, maybe I'd just be an Uber driver.
Bro, I was Brisbane's best Uber driver.
Well, you inspired me.
You actually did one shift on it, remember?
Yeah, no, I did more than one shift. I was for about 3 weeks, I was Ubering
And this
around.
was in the peak of like Geronimo as well, because people would have been like, I'm in the car with George Sheppard.
Yeah. I actually had to stop because I was like, I wanted to do it just because of the experience.
Yeah.
I wanted to like pick up people in my car, earn a little bit of money and just get that
That rush.
little buzz of, that rush of having a customer.
Yeah.
But I got recognized like 4 times, I think, in the 3 weeks.
Did they give you any tips? Or
No, but they're just like, what are you driving Uber for? And then it made me feel like I was a loser for driving Uber.
Bro, that's what I felt like every day for 2 years.
And I was like, hang on a second. It doesn't look good, does it? If I'm driving Uber and I'm in this band, why would I be driving Uber? Like,
that's another ego death, right? Like I fucking love driving Uber. You get to meet a lot of good people.
I only wanted to do it for the
Experience.
The experience. And I did it.
It's interesting. One thing I've noticed, and this is a bit off topic, but like you think back to when we were growing up and you saw like movie stars and musicians and all, even sports stars were so one-dimensional. They were so focused on that specific part of their career. Or from what we knew, obviously, there was probably definitely other things happening, but now you see musicians starting clothing label, like they're just entrepreneurial, like doing all these other things, and it's incredible. And then obviously, you bring it back to Uber. It's like, it's just an experience. Like life's about having awesome experiences, whether it's to make money as an or solve a problem as an entrepreneur, or it's just the fact that you want to fucking drive a car and meet people. Like there should be no difference really.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of it, because at the end of the day, there's 2 things that are certain. Actually, I'm just going to say one, but we're going to fucking die. So you may as well get as many experiences under the belt as possible, regardless of what's happening.
What it means for the rest
Yeah, well, exactly, because no one knows the sentimental value of what it gives you as an individual.
Exactly.
It's all, like, I still remember the day when I was Brisbane's best Uber driver, and this was when I was in my network marketing days, but I remember I was saying, I'm going to be a millionaire one day, hands down. And this lady's like, you're an Uber driver. And I was like, fuck you. I'll see.
Who is she? Give me her name.
Mate, if only I could get her details back up on Uber. But I was like, that was the biggest thing, even for me to learn, like, not to judge people. Like, I love Uber drivers because you always know they're going to be doing something different, or they're at least open to innovation, which is open to growth and open-minded, have to be to do it. Mm-hmm. So I always love hanging out with people who are doing those sorts of things and understanding why they're doing it, what it gives to them. You see a lot of people who are just doing it because they want to connect with people. No one fucking connects anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a bit of a side note, but we'll slip back in and head back to, obviously, you're doing Uber in the peak of Geronimo, but take us back before that. When did it sort of start taking off, the music for you? Like, had it been a hard slog? Did you get lucky? How did it all unfold for you from that point? Were you an overnight success?
We got lucky in the sense that, it's needle in a haystack type of luck. But we went in Papua New Guinea. We had a music teacher named Baruka Tau at our primary school.
Yep.
Baruka had played with a bunch of these like successful bands as a session musician.
Yep.
He'd played with Yothu Yindi, he'd played with Janet Jackson, he'd played with Madonna, keys, like bass guitar. This guy had traveled and met all these cool people and then finished it all and came back to Papua New Guinea to teach music. And we
That's
just
so awesome.
happened to be
there.
Yeah, there at the right time. So we learned with Baruka. And then when we were adults, we'd always kept in touch. Like my dad was good friends with him, and we'd always kept in touch with him after we left school. And then when he discovered that we were doing the music thing, he goes, "Hey, look, I'm gonna email my mate Chuggy. I know him from like 20 years ago when we were touring with Yothu Yindi.
He's kind of the biggest music guy in Australia.
Yeah, this is like this. He's number 2 most influential man in the music industry, behind Michael Gudinski. And
it's a good email to get.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're like, well, see what he says, Baruka. We're not holding out hope.
Yep.
And I think Baruka, like, just kept on hounding him. To his credit, he just kept on emailing him and messaging him, and to the point where I think Chuggy was just like, for fuck's sake, just bring him in. I'll give him half an hour. They can do a couple of songs. That's it.
Were you
just
nervous
to shut him
going
up.
into that?
Oh, man, I've never been so nervous about anything in my entire life.
Far out.
Because I'd only seen videos of Michael Chugg at that point, and he's like, he's a gruff bloke. Like he's the guy that snatches the microphone at a festival and like yells at the crowd for doing stupid shit.
Up, dickheads.
Yeah, he's all about the swears. He's like,
I like him.
he's like a bad Santa kind of character.
Yeah.
So we went in and thought we were going to perform to him in his office, but when we arrive at his office, he brings us out into the main area where there's like 30 odd staff, and he made us perform right there in front of everybody. And that was where I shat myself. Had to clean up my underpants.
Yeah.
But he wanted to put us in the deep end, see how we were going to fare. And we did 5 songs that we'd written. Let Me Down Easy wasn't one of them. I think it was like Flying Away.
I love Flying Away.
Find
So
Someone.
good.
Pebble Road.
Find Someone's good.
Hold My Tongue. And one other one.
Such good tunes.
Can't remember. But we'd... we did well. We like sung the songs immaculately and must have impressed him. Because a couple of days later we got an email with an offer of management. And that was really the game changer. That was the moment that we started doing festivals, and Chuggy came up and watched us play at Black Bear Lodge one night, him and Andrew Stone. And I saw him after the show and he goes, well, now that I know you can fucking play, we're in business. And that was the moment. And he's like, all right, so there's a festival in South Africa I want to put you guys on. And then it was like, oh my God, here we go. And then we'll go from South Africa, we'll fly up to Wilderness Festival in the UK.
Yeah.
And then we'll do Summertime in Central Park, New York City. It's like,
we're just in Brisbane. Next minute we're all over the place.
It was just this trip that we had to do.
Yeah.
And that was where it really began. And once we'd done this big trip, we had all of this like news and footage of... We actually went number 1 in Portland, Oregon on the radio station in Portland before we'd had a single play on the radio in Australia. And there was this big story when we went over to Portland to play this radio gig. Because in the States they do these... like every radio station does like a little Christmas festival where they might book out a venue and they have, 7 or 8 of the popular bands from that year come and play that festival. And we were on one of those festivals because Let Me Down Easy was one of the big songs of this radio station. And we played to a room of like 1,500 kids, and it was like the first sold out big crowd that we'd played to. It was the time of our lives. Like we had the best time. We hadn't had a peep in Australia, but we were in the States playing to a sold-out room.
How'd that feel, not having had a peep in Australia, but playing sold out everywhere else?
I mean, at the time, it felt great. Being overseas, playing to a room full of people, it was unbelievable.
Yep.
We weren't thinking too much about how Australia would be feeling, or, we just thought maybe it'll help our chances.
Yep.
And it did. Like the fact that we were doing that, and overseas we had this story. Our song went to number 1 on this station. David Campbell. This is another bit of a lightning in a bottle moment of like needle in a hay
stack.
Yeah, needle in a haystack type of.
Haystack.
Jay's and Luke's brother, so the Pavinos. We've spoken about them. Luke's and Jay's older brother, Adam, is a cameraman for Channel 9.
Far out.
So Channel 9 News, he's the guy that's filming your nightly news fix. He gave our EP to his reporter, Amelia Adams. She listened to it, she loved it. And in the makeup room, she was with David Campbell, who hosts mornings on Channel 9. Well, at the time, he hosted mornings. Jimmy Barnes' son. He listens to the EP, loves it, does a bit of research, sees that we've been in the States doing this show. He's like, well, what are we doing? Let's get him on.
That's so incredible.
And that's how we got a call saying, hey, David Campbell wants to feature you guys on the morning show with Let Me Down Easy. And that was the day we did that performance. That afternoon, we got added to Nova nationwide with Let Me Down Easy.
Think about everything that has had to happen, and I know you can say it's like the the lucky thing, but you put all the work in place and said yes to the right things, showed up and sung in front of Chugg, and put all that effort and sacrifice in to make that moment happen. And it's something that obviously is life altering.
Well, the harder you work, the luckier you get, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you could have easily said, no, we don't want to do that audition, or you could have said, no, I'm busy, I'm still getting gigs in Sydney. And it's like our quality of life. Yeah, every 2 weeks, just can't do it. The decisions that we make have an incredible impact on the outcome of our life. And it's like, if we want to get better qualities of life, we make better decisions. Even though obviously, ultimately you don't know where they're going to lead you, but if you trust your gut, most of the time you're going to be doing well. Fast forward when did I come on the scene?
20 years later.
So 20 years later, I came on the scene. I think I met Amy at the end of 2013.
I can't remember you arriving.
Yeah, I was just there. I remember you actually saying that, but
you just appeared, and you were just here.
And then you were
you always have been.
The greatest thing ever. But I remember I met Amy. It must have been late 2013, and obviously all that sort of jazz. But I remember when Geronimo, not the jazz you're thinking of, son. No, but we met and carried on, and She fell madly in love with me, as she would.
Oh yes.
No.
Anyway, she instigated the first kiss.
She did actually instigate the first kiss, but
Sounds like Amy.
That's another podcast for another time, I'd imagine. But I fast forward to August 2014 when Geronimo went nuts. I still remember because I was still a very self-conscious, quiet dude, and watching your progress, and then hearing Scooter Braun's going to sign you, and seeing Geronimo take off, and I'm going back to Toowoomba every day, being hanging out with people from different walks of life, and then hearing you guys on the radio, and everyone's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. She's going to leave you, and then you come back, and I'm like, probably, I'm a fucking piece of shit.
She's going to leave you.
But one of the most impressive things, or one thing that was impressive for me, because I thought, if you're going to have that world-class level of success, which you did with Geronimo, and, hanging out with Jimmy, going on Jimmy Fallon and doing that, I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm out of here. Going to be gone. But through that whole process, you guys did not change a single bit. You stayed the same tight-knit family, super humble. The lifestyles didn't change a single bit, apart from you were obviously, at that point in time, you were fucking traveling 90% of the year and left Kathleen and myself unattended, which was horrible. But, to see that growth, but also remain humble. What was it like for you, obviously reaching that peak? That's literally the pinnacle of success in the music industry for what most people are wanting in that commercial space. How did you not allow that to go to your head? Because you see it in all, not just music, but footy and all that. People reach that level of fame and they either fuck it up or they become an arrogant. A lot of the time, obviously, there's always, this is generalizing, but a lot of the time you see it destroy people. How did you manage to maintain?
I think at the end of the day, none of it ever felt real. You could feel that it was a very unusual circumstance. This is not what life is. And you were just on this roller coaster for a second. And there's nothing that you can... You only have so much limited control over what happens to you when something like that takes hold. So you can feel that as a human. You know that there's something happening that's bigger than you are, and you just sort of let it happen. And in the back of your mind, you're always like, when's real life coming back? When's real life coming back?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people take for granted, because we're in the day and age of TikTok and Instagram. Everyone wants to be famous.
Yeah.
But I don't think they really do. I think everyone needs. This is a Jim Carrey quote that I've always stuck to. He's like, I wish everybody in the world could become famous so that they all know that that's not what they're chasing. And that's the truth. It's not really what you want.
Yep.
Because people take for granted anonymity. It's the most valuable thing that you have. Being able to make a first impression when you walk into a room. That's something that I think a lot of people take for granted.
Never thought about that ever.
So when you're when you've been on a TV show, or if you're in a footy team, like Premier Leagues, whatever it is, if you get this level of fame, I think everybody has a similar reaction to it, where it's a bit of a shock of how much it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
And that's what people can fall off the deep end with it, because it feels like a video game. You're in a simulation. Everything's free.
Yeah.
Everyone's nice to you. There's there's a trap that you can fall into of feeling like an invincible individual, whereas you are not. You are still very much in the real world with real obligations and consequences and responsibilities. And I mean, we don't. My family, we don't feel that. We don't feel any more special than anyone else.
What do you think people are chasing then? Obviously you mentioned people are chasing fame. Like, if it's not fame, like obviously
I think people respect.
Yeah.
People want to feel respected. People want to feel like their existence matters to people. Yeah. Other than themselves.
They want to feel loved and valuable.
Yeah. I mean, and that all comes back to the ego and the ego is essentially a defense mechanism where you're just trying to protect yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you inflate your own view of yourself, or you might shy away from certain areas if you think you're going to get hurt. Like, that's all part of this shield that we have called our ego. I've been through a few phases where I feel like I've removed that and it's been completely shattered. And I've felt okay because of it. You know what I mean?
How do you not, obviously you're talking about the death of the ego and all that sort of stuff, but every day I would imagine people are wanting your time, your attention, your energy. How do you, manage that and prioritize what's important? But also, as you mentioned, you're not huge on social media, which is incredible in terms of what you use it for. You use it for your own personal entertainment, but you're not there showing your life to people like a lot of people, like myself, get caught up in doing. Why haven't you fallen into that trap? Why do you choose to stay out of it?
I guess it's a selfish thing because I'm not getting anything out of it.
Fair play.
I'm not
Fair play.
I'm giving. I post and I show somebody. Sometimes I'll remember to do it. I'll be like, oh.
Did you post about us last night at golf, or did you forget?
No.
We took all of these photos.
Yeah, and I forgot. I just didn't.
So last night we played putt-putt. It was beautiful in Brisbane City. Victoria Park in Brisbane. And it was for the Christmas putt-putt. And as we were walking over, there was a candy bar. They were bringing us beers. They were bringing us food. It was beautiful. Look at that. Just take it up to the camera. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a photo there, right? It's a cracking shot. But it was funny. When we walked over the bridge, we're like, how incredible is this? And then we had the moment where we're like, how incredible is it that we're on a Thursday night, it's a school night, but we're having a few beers at a candy bar on a putt-putt course with Brisbane City in our background. It's pretty fucking cool. And then George's like, let's get a photo. I'm going to put it on social media. And here we go. He took this U-Butte photo, which those of you who are watching this would have just seen, but still hasn't uploaded it. So
I just don't know why people would care about me in that sense.
Mate,
I'm always amazed at how much people care about other people.
Well, it's fascinating.
Kathleen, she's always watching the girls' stories, and she's just so interested and enthralled by what is going on with other people's lives.
It blows because people go, even someone I just called up with before, it's like, did you see that on social? I was like, no, I literally don't watch people's stories nor read people's posts or anything like that, because quite frankly, if I want to see what's going on in your life, I'll call you or speak. I don't give a fuck. I use social media a lot. I'm active as hell on it because I know people engage with it, but I don't engage with people's stuff. If you find the amount of times I've commented on people's posts or it, I don't do it. It's just I'm in that. Don't get me wrong. I'm in that habit of scrolling, but I don't actually I'm not doing anything. I'm literally scrolling.
Yeah.
And so when I hear people like, do you see this on social media or that on social media, or you watch that story, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's someone else's life that you, like, is it going to directly affect you? No. Why do you give a fuck? Like, it blows my mind, unless, obviously you want to seek out information, and I would go to YouTube or you go to Reddit. I know that. But yeah, it's such a interesting thing. And now that I've said that, please don't stop following me. Keep following me. But I'm just telling you how I use social media. It blows my mind that, once again, I think we all learn in different ways and enjoy different things, but I've never been a reality TV person or that I'd rather have my head in a book.
I think the important thing is that we have to remember that it's entertainment.
Should I cut that whole bit from the podcast?
No.
Okay, I'll keep
Why
it
would
on.
you?
No, I'm just joking, guys.
No, people want the real stories.
Yeah.
People want the real Lockie.
So, entertainment?
I just think people need to realize that it's entertainment. Like, when people start to look at social media for their news, for their facts.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, there's like educational Instagram accounts and all that stuff, but it's not like going to university. It's not like going to school. It's it's entertainment. It's like a pastime.
People don't ever do extra due diligence on it to figure out what's real and what's not, or anything like that. They just go, no, I saw this here and therefore it's true. It's like, no, it's not. I could write a completely fake blog and someone somewhere will take it as gospel and be like, that's true.
Share it around a million times and then all of a sudden it's real.
Yeah.
Facebook is a hell of a drug.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people, it's particularly in the older demographics now, are using Facebook as like this source of news.
Yeah.
And that's like...
They see Batuta Advocate and they're like, did you see this? You're like, no, Batuta Advocate is not legit.
Yeah, they're like, the 65-year-old aunt in Florida has shared an article or a blog that someone's written about something and might not be factual, but people now believe it. Like, thousands of people believe it. Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
But anyway, I just like to keep my distance, arm's length from social media.
Fair play. So fast forward, obviously, you had huge international success. You got to play some of the biggest shows in the world, Rock in Rio. You played on some of the biggest television shows in the world, if not the biggest. One I wish you had done was carpool karaoke.
I did that. We did that with JP, Function Well Card.
True. Very true. Sorry, I retract that statement.
No, we were definitely copying.
That would be phenomenal though, because he's a funny bloke. But fast forward, obviously the career is still thriving. This year, 2020, COVID's happened. You guys have been releasing a song a month, which is pretty insane. Like, the music industry, to me and probably to a lot of people, I think I probably understand a bit more than or I see it. I don't understand it. That's a lie. But I see a lot of the stuff. But then you see how music's changing. You guys are now releasing a song a month with a film clip and everything like that. What's that been like for you guys?
Well, we decided to do that because of no other reason than we wanted to try something new.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't doing it for COVID or whatever. Like, it was...
Well, you'd chosen to do it before COVID, right?
Yeah, January. We sort of realised we had a bunch of songs that we wanted to release. We weren't sure how we were going to release them. So we decided to call it the third album and release it one song a month of this year and see how it went. Like, the songs weren't finished, we all...
So you released them, not finished? No, I'm kidding.
Well, some of them we started from scratch.
Yeah.
Like Solid Gold was pretty much from the get-go. Animals we wrote from the get-go.
Yeah.
And completed a song within a month. But yeah, a lot of them were like demos from older sessions, older trips that we'd done to the States and whatever. But it was the most fulfilling process as like a songwriter, as an artist, to be able to release a new baby into the world every month. Because, you might wait on a single for like 8 to 10 months sometimes. Once it's been written, it could come out a year later. Like, you don't know. And it's like, by then you're sick of it, or you're not the same artist anymore. It's like
Yeah, we constantly grow and evolve. Like even your sounds from when you mentioned Pebble Road,
Yeah.
Hold My Tongue, all that sort of stuff is a completely different sound to where you guys are at now. And I'm assuming it's going to continue to
We're just
grow
always
and evolve.
experimenting, really.
Yeah.
Just trying new things.
And that led you to the AFL Grand Final. For those who are listening all around the world, Australian football, so Aussie rules, Sheppard played the halftime entertainment, and I'll attach a link in the show notes to this so you can watch it because it was fucking epic.
Should do it now because I need to go to the bathroom.
All right, I'm going to pause this and George is going to go to the bathroom because he's holding himself. Pause. And we're back. I didn't insert an ad or a sponsor because, well, I don't have an ad or a sponsor. But George, do you feel better?
I feel so much better. It's so much relief.
Awesome. And now, obviously leading into the AFL Grand Final, what was that like?
Oh, yeah, it was pretty good. The AFL Grand Final was, I feel like it was the culmination.
Amy's just ventured out and knocked over a heap of glasses.
In her attempt at subtlety.
Was not so subtle.
Yeah, your question about the AFL Grand Final. I feel like it was the culmination of about 10 years of energy and time and effort. It was like something that I've dreamt about doing for, not just the AFL Grand Final, but playing these songs in a stadium like that with that sort of production and that like atmosphere, like that electric atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of what Sheppard is. Like that's what we've wanted to do for so long. And it was just this really nice like flag in the dirt of like we finally got to do something like this.
Yeah. That's
it was just the culminate. I'm still trying to get over it. Like 2 weeks later.
Is it your favourite show you've ever played?
100%. Yeah.
Even bigger than Rock and Rio?
Yeah. Well, Rock and Rio came with all sorts of other fraught stresses, but the AFL was just a perfect performance from start to finish. I might sound biased, but I'm not even talking about for the audience. I'm talking about as like a performer.
Yeah.
Going through something like that, it was just it was a dream.
That's incredible. So if you stick around in anything for 10 years, you might get the AFL Grand Final. in its own variation.
The 10,000 hours rule.
100%.
1,000 hours a year.
How many times have you played Geronimo?
Oh.
Can you get Geronimo up on your phone?
At least 10,000 hours worth.
For the people who haven't heard Geronimo, just quickly play a little snippet.
You reckon?
Spotify.
You reckon there's still people that...
100%.
All right. This is...
well, maybe.
This is what Geronimo sounds like.
Hope my podcast doesn't get pulled down for this.
Oh, yeah.
No, I know Spotify's now allowing music in it.
Oh, come on. Yes, I can. Yes, we can. Okay, so the chorus is like...
We should have had this as the intro. And that's Geronimo. So
I'm sure you've heard that annoying chorus before.
Played that a lot, and it's playing everywhere. It's obviously phenomenal and a huge level of success. But let's fast forward. Obviously, you've had an incredible career, and you're still having an incredible career, and it allows you to do what you love on a daily basis, which is unbelievable. Let's fast forward to the night after the AFL Grand Final.
Oh, okay.
What happened? Because for those who are watching, even if have you posted on your social media? Did you?
I did post about it. I said wear a helmet.
Yeah. Wear a helmet, exactly. So
look,
if
it was
it's
a
not
freak
on,
accident.
It's not on.
It was a freak accident. For those who aren't aware, I had a little tumble.
Little tumbleweed.
Little tumble. I'm a big fan of the electric scooter. This recent invention that just seems to be
everywhere.
It's just so much better than walking.
Oh, of course.
It's like walking.
I've invested.
Crack.
I still don't know why you haven't invested in one.
Well, because I like to just leave it wherever I don't want to be obligated to carry the scooter around with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
But
fair.
So Dean, our drummer, he'd bought me tickets to Ballpark Music, fantastic Brisbane band, the night after the AFL Grand Final. And it was part of my birthday weekend. It was like a whole package. We go to Triffid, we sit down, have a few drinks at the Triffid. amazing show. They really are one of Brisbane's greatest bands of all time. And then there's a scooter just sitting there waiting for me outside. And I was
George,
like, oh, look,
please.
it's just a real quick and easy trip home. Only live 3 blocks away. It'll be fine. Let's go. It had been raining. It was about midnight. It was dark because, that's usually what it is around midnight. And I wasn't wearing a helmet.
What happened?
And I'd had a
next?
few drinks.
But not too many.
No, I was not. I can remember the accident,
yeah.
but I don't remember after the accident. What happened was, and I was cruising as well. I was cruising home. I was flying through because at that time,
they
Sunday
kick up to
night, midnight, the roads are empty.
They go like 30 kilometers an hour now.
Yeah, they get up there. Could still ride them through construction zones, by the way. Didn't realise.
Fantastic.
40 kilometres an hour. But they don't do too well in the wet. That's the one thing I've noticed about them. And I had to I was trying to avoid the speed bump that's at the start of James Street Market.
Yeah.
And to do that, you need to kind of scoot onto this little metal grate, which is over covering the drain.
Yeah.
At speed, that's not a turn you want to be taking in the wet. The scooter just disappeared from underneath me and, suffered a concussion.
Smash your head on the pavement and now have a nice...
Yeah, I did a full roll. It's actually healing up quite nicely. Actually, my shoulder was the worst. Oh,
Yeah, still...
kind of getting there. I was still a little crocodile-y.
How was the bitumen?
Still a little reptilian. Oh, you should have seen the bitumen, mate. Bitumen was absolutely...
The road workers had to get back onto it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, I did not leave that scene looking worse than the bitumen.
It's not hard. No, I'm kidding. What's next for you? Like, you've had... Do you feel you've reached the pinnacle of success in your music career?
You know what? I do. I feel like, where do I go from here? I've constantly felt that. I've never known where to go from here. We just got to keep on living in the moment. I said to you before, I have no future planning skills. I have no recollection of the past. I'm like a goldfish.
George Goldfish Sheppard.
Yeah, I live in this 10-second bracket.
I like it.
But yeah, to be honest, I don't know where we'll go from here because it's this has been such an interesting album cycle for Sheppard. It's been my favourite recording year of all time. I've had a great time. Just getting to work in our studio, our new studio at home, go to the gym, to the cafe, to home. Just doing that little diamond has been a real dream, yeah. And then culminating in the biggest gig that we've ever done.
So, a fantastic year. So, last question.
Yeah, we got really lucky with 2020.
And I asked you this last time.
I hope I don't sound arrogant.
No, man.
I don't think there's a definition of being a man, is there? Everyone has their own definition.
Well, that's the point, yeah. But what's it mean to you? When you're striving to be your version of that, of your best self, what does that look like? Or feel like, or sound like?
I think stable. Just mentally stable and emotionally...
Stable?
Yeah.
I like it.
Just... doesn't none of it matter. You don't have to be the breadwinner. You don't have to be the tough guy. None of that
matters.
Yeah, it's just about being stable. You can still feel all the emotions you want to feel, but at the end of the day, you know that you're going to be able to keep it together.
Yeah, love it.
I think that would probably be my answer.
Perfect.
I haven't really given it a lot of thought, to be honest.
Don't need to. It is what it is. Mate, thank you for coming on. It's been 250 episodes in the waiting.
Well, are we done? This is it? That flew by.
I know it did. We've got a birthday party now. But
Well, thanks for having me, man. It's been
and we'll
really
do
fun.
we'll do a few more.
Hey, anytime. Just
Well,
let's not let it be another 250
You've only got
episodes.
one gig every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm free.
Free as a bird. Well,
I'm
thank
not
you
busy.
for joining us. What'd you say? Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.